Once again, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you join us from. My name is Jamal Kamara. I join my colleague Mark Jutafar from Sweden, Paul the Lord Children from London. Once again, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you join us. Welcome to the Bottom Line Liberia. Tonight, we'll be discussing some hot topics tonight. 5 major topics that made airline in Liberia over the week. But let's see what we can take a quick musical break. Come back, we'll share you with the topic. We want you to please share the show and buckle up. Take your coffee, whatever you can take in. Let's take a 1 hour 45-minute drive. Thank you. And we'll come back. Our colleagues will introduce themselves. We'll take it from there. Paul?
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber. Stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. Y'all gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. People fool us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go. I said we tired with their lies, we tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to beat? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. No one to trust, my people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then stay they delay. People suffer, no work for people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us. So they lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to breathe? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us. So I said they lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us.
Once again, welcome to the Bottom Line Liberia. Tonight, joining me to discuss issues that make headlines in Liberia and around the world are my colleague, Mark Judah from Sweden. Mark, welcome. And Paul the Lord Children. How are you, gentlemen?
Oh, good evening, Gemma. I might get out of the stream. I don't think we are live on Facebook. It's not coming up, only
Yeah,
on
we will look
YouTube.
into that, Paul.
So
Just
I
keep
might.
going. I will go on. I will
Okay.
look into that. Go on. Just keep going. I will check that. Just go ahead and work. Okay? Why are you working on that, Paul? Mark, welcome, brother. And how are you today from that end?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good from my end in Stockholm, Sweden. The weather I've been friendly today. Yeah, even though we're in summer, but it's been raining since yesterday. Yeah.
Right. I know you're a big fan of. You're a big fan. I know we want to before we go to our topic. If you just join, we'll be telling you more things. We'll be diving deep into Liberian politics. What's making news in Liberia over the week? My colleague Paul, he's here tonight, as well as Mark Judefa. But let's talk a little bit about football. In America, they call it soccer. I know you're a big fan of what's happening on the world stage today in the USA. African teams, and like we don't have Liberian playing actually national team. Lusa is now playing, but at least we got some Liberian blood related play on the field. We got Mo Toure from Australia, Tim Weir from USA, and Alfonso Davis for Canada. I think that's what we can be proud of ourselves. But anyway, what do you think about the African participation? This 10 African teams in this World Cup this year.
Yeah, the World Cup is a unique thing that bring people together to have some good times and social interaction. But the World Cup being hosted in the U.S. and with this precedent, for me, it's a disappointment. And I believe African teams should have walked away from this World Cup. That's what I believe because of this precedent, not because of the American in general, but the attitude of this president towards Africa and towards African. This man has been insulting African for a very long time. Remember when he called Africa, the whole continent, the S word, a shithole place, and I expected African leaders to have. There should have been a consequence for that remark alone. You know, he would have apologized, and I said this thing with no regret. There are things that Africa as a continent can do every time, be it the European, even though I live in Sweden, I live in Europe, every time anybody outside the continent disrespect the continent in general. You understand? There's something we can do and bring that person to their need or that group of people or whatsoever to their need. But we don't apply these things in the international relation. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. But the thing is, you're right. On the political side, we seem to be the underdog, the weakest link. We go out there begging for funds, aids. They say all those things against Africa. Some African countries were selected by President Trump, and he visited them. And our Liberian president, one of those who visited, you know what happened? He kind of, the Englishman called bullied them, and they kind of accepted it. And they were playing mockery of our president. He speaks good English. You talking about this is a stand. That's a radical stand most people would take towards these looking down on you as a continent. But now, what happened to Umar Atan, the Somali referee, the well-respected, celebrated African referee who was barred from entering the U.S. and many other African teams? You say, I think we say on this platform that have to go through the rigorous checking, more especially Senegalese team. Not only that, the Congolese, the DRC team will have to go through a massive testing because there's a news that Ebola is in our area. So each player, each representative from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, has to go through a tough checking before they get on the soil of America. But however, that's how it is because we stay weak. We still don't stand for ourselves. I'm with you on this, Mr. Fad. But tell me the performance, on the performance side, what do you think African players think will do this year? Give me from the highest to the lowest.
the FIFA, I want to say this, even though it have been long overdue, and since the 90s coming to this time, that Africa is how they call it, represented with 10 teams at this World Cup. I think they have done a great job. And soccer on the continent also has improved greatly. In some countries, they are playing semi-professional. And I know one day we are going, by European standard, we are going to get there someday, but it has to do with investment, not just in soccer, but in all sports, with responsible government on the different parts of, how they call it, the different countries on the continent of Africa, we're going to do well. But when it comes to teams that are going to, like there was an old man in Liberia, I think a lot of you people are familiar with him, Josiah Johnson. He said football a biscuit, right? So today, who expected Morocco to draw with the great Brazil? You understand? 1-1. Who expected Ivory Coast to have beaten France the other day? You understand? And who expected the same Morocco to have gone semi-final, I think semi or quarter-final this going World Cup, and who expected Senegal to have gone, I think, quarter-final the World Cup before that. So African countries in general, they are going to do well, even though we are going to be missing the inimitable lion from Cameroon. We are going to be missing the super eagle from Nigeria. And yeah, but with the lack of, with Senegal, and you got Morocco, you got Algeria, you got the Ivory Coast, and people might look down on Ghana, yeah, but they're going to do well. I expect one or two African teams to go as far as semi-final this year again.
Yeah, very good analysis. You're talking about Indomitable Lions, the Cameroonian. But do you remember they were stopped by Cape Verde, and Cape Verde is now being first time in the World Cup. And that was a big shock. If Cape Verde can stop Cameroon, the Lions were coming onto the world stage.
Sorry, brother Josiah, brother Jamal. There where the late Josiah Johnson topic come. I'm afraid come now that football is like a biscuit. You understand? Biscuit.
I think he's still alive, Mark.
Okay. You hold one end. I'm sorry to.
No, he's been out of Liberia for a long time.
No, he coached me before. We a lot of names that we call him, like in Liberian, saying we call him Angege. Yeah, Angege. It means the master of the game. He you know how Liberian players focus on Europe than America. Liberia would have been one of the best team on the continent, and I believe that we would have gone to a World Cup had it not been for the war, because Josiah Johnson, he was another thing. Yeah, he was like we call football scientist, like Socrates. You understand, from Brazil. So we call him Boju. Again, people from West Point, we call him Boju. He's a man who can look at the game and analyze the game in less than 10 minutes time, and he tell you what's going to happen. And that way he developed the game that football is like biscuit. Yeah, you don't underestimate your opponent. So like Cape Verde you talk about, and the goalkeeper the other night, that was last night. Yeah, how they call it? He had a great performance.
Cape Verde against Spain, right?
Yeah, Cape Verde against Spain. Who expected Cape Verde to draw with Spain? The goalkeeper is the talk of the whole, how they call it, the whole world now. Yeah.
Paul, if you just join us, this is Bottom Line Liberia, coming to you live from Milan, Europe. My colleague to discuss topics tonight that are making headlines in Liberia is Mark Judah from Sweden, Paul the Lord Churupili. The host of the audience for the Lord Churupili was for tonight. But before we go to dive deep into our topic, I want to talk a little bit about what's happening on the world stage. Tell me what you think. Mark just told me what you think about what's happening with sports, African participation in the World Cup this year. And the surprises came about. Cape Verde stopping the great, mighty Spanish team. I I mean, for me, it was not a surprise. If you can stop the indomitable Lions from qualifying for the World Cup, what do you expect if you're on the world stage? You know, I mean, I'm in England, and I would tell people 38 games to play in England, the Premier League. If you got to that Premier League, you're not a small potato calling Liberia. You're not a small ball to play with. So if you get to the world stage, Haiti, Cape Verde, other countries, they made their way through whatever qualification they went through. But tell me, Paul, give me your analysis about what you think the 10 African teams will do this year, and what do you think we're going to go proud to Africa, or we're going to go out very quickly because South Africa already conceded in their first match against Mexico. So what happened next? I think you talk about South Africans. I know Mark will be telling me because of what's happening in South Africa, they are getting too much of what do you call it, disloyalty or dissupport. They are not being supported by other African countries. It's something that we will talk about. But anyway, Paul, what do you think about the African teams in the World Cup this year?
Well, the thing is, I want to say good evening to our audience first. And before I say anything, it's good to be among the living, and it's good to have a conversation with the great people on this platform tonight. Jamal, look, Africans, we have the talent. It's there. And if you want to know what the European teams that have won the World Cup, I'll take you to France. They won a French national team, they're Africans. If you look at Belgium, you look at Portugal, England, all of these teams, look at the best player on the team, they're Africans. So it's just that we haven't had that support from our people to give people that opportunity. But now that a lot of Africans are doing extremely well. So don't be surprised. I saw Cape Verde playing Liberia. Liberia were in the same zone with Cape Verde. And it's just to tell you that you don't overlook anyone when it comes to the game. And I like what Mark said, well, the former Lone Star coach, they were saying football is basically, you don't know when it will break. That's the beauty of the game. So you cannot overlook any team that in this World Cup. So I expect Senegal, Morocco, even Ghana. And I think Morocco went to the semi-final last time.
Yeah, the first African country.
And I think just watch this. The performance of Morocco the other night showed that it's a force to reckon with. Senegal, no African team have come to England to beat England. Senegal came to England and beat England at Wembley. It just tells you the level at which the African football have reached. So don't be surprised that we may have 2 or 3 African teams. Watch the Congolese team, that the team that did not, the Great Eagle. Watch for them. So don't overlook any team from Africa in this World Cup. They will cause a lot of trouble. And I may not be surprised that we may have 2 or 3 African teams probably in the quarterfinal game for the semi-final. Impossible. You never know. Maybe this will be an African year. We don't know. But let's watch see. Yeah, so that's
a good analysis. I think I want Mark to touch a little bit. I know people say, well, don't bull all with your football thing. Tell us something about what's happening with the South African. I mean, the Bafana was a favorite team those years back when they go to play the Vuvu. What's the name again? The trumpet. The Vuvuzela, all this stuff. Yeah. It seems to be quiet this year, and they don't have that much of a support across Africa. I mean, it's not giving them support. What do you think is the problem? You think it's what is happening right now in South Africa has caused them this pain or this lack of support from other people, Mark?
Absolutely, Brother Jamal. I mean, what happened, it's not just in Africa alone, it's across the globe that they are not getting the kind of support, the kind of admiration that people are supposed to have. For South Africa, I mean, participation in the World Cup, and people wish that they go out of the World Cup very early. And I'm somebody who is spiritual and believe in nature. And when human being heart start to what you call, or how they call it, start grumbling against your behavior, you understand? So these things, except for people who are not spiritual, who don't believe in nature, then they're gonna doubt these things. So South Africa performance in the World Cup and not getting the support it has absolutely, something to do with their behavior, because when this thing started in South Africa, the government, South Africa is not like some other country that is underdeveloped. They got some sectors in the country that are still yet, some borough in the country that are still yet underdeveloped, like Shanti or whatsoever you're going to call them towns. But they have the security, apparatus to quiet down any kind of disturbance, public disobedience. They have the security apparatus, and the government did not do enough for the people to have tarnished the image of the country globally, and most especially Africa. And the reason why African are hurt from the behavior of South Africa, because during the time of apartheid, Africa rally around South Africa. You understand? The whole continent rally around South Africa. And for a European to be more respected in South Africa than an African, it's an insult, it's a slap in the face across the African as a whole on the continent. And I'm in favor of people going to some country in a legal manner, and you getting your legal status. Even in Liberia, I'm for it, but that doesn't give the citizen of Liberia the right to go and, how they call it, start harassing people in the street, asking them for paper. That is why you have the Bureau of Immigration and Naturalization. And like in Liberia, we have hundreds of thousands of people in Liberia. And I am also asking, why is it that these people that are in Liberia just like that? But that doesn't give me the right to go in the street and start asking people, or put a group of thugs and together and say, oh yeah, we see a Lebanese man, where you paper, what you doing in the country? Or we see a Ivorian, or we see a Senegalese, or we see, but let it be done through the institution that is responsible. For example, there's something they call free travel across Africa, right? It has been misinterpreted, like in Liberia, for example. Free travel doesn't mean free stay in a main country, okay? It only permits you that free movement across the continent. But now some people, they go into other countries and they remain there permanently. And in order for you to remain there permanently, there are immigration standards you're supposed to meet up with before you stay in the main country. But let the Bureau of Immigration do the job, not you, the ordinary citizen. So what happened to South Africa? A lot of people, millions of people, hundreds of millions of people wish that they go out of the World Cup and they don't prosper, and even wishing more evil upon South Africa, I'll be honest with you.
Thank you. Wow, that's the what's happening in South Africa. My colleague just said it right. You can't say more what you've said concerning the attack on Africans, immigrants in South Africa will hurt their presence right on the world stage. And I mean, the Vuvuzela is silent, and the other Africans will go out there and get a massive support to the Bafana, but this time is very quiet. I mean, the other way around. But anyway, Paul, I'll take a quick break and we'll let our viewers know what we have on the menu for tonight. Quick break and come back. We'll tell you what we got. Stay with us. Don't go away. This is the Bottom Line Liberia Live.
Welcome to Your Story, where real lives meet real truth. I'm your host, Francis Monamenza, and every week I sit down with remarkable guests to uncover their journeys that shape their lives, the struggle they survive, the breakthroughs they earn. and the lessons that can change your life. This is not just a conversation, this is your story, a life experience that goes deep, gets real, and leaves you with something to think about long after the streams. Join us every Saturday at 8 p.m. Central European Time, live on the Bottom Line Liberia. Don't just watch, be a part of the conversation, because every story matters, especially yours.
You wanna know what we doing down here? How we do, things we do, what we do. Let's do it for us.
Welcome back to the Bottom Line Liberia. From Milan, Euro. Jamal Kamara is my name, and I have Mayor Paul, the Lord Celebrate for London, and also Mark Judelfa live from the Kingdom of Sweden. We're out tonight to discuss issues that made news in Liberia over the week. Now, Paul, what do you got on our menu tonight to share with our audience? Paul, Mark, take us through the topic. What do you have? Mark,
Well,
go.
are you with me?
You can read all you have, Mark.
Okay. The bottom line.
The topic, the discussion
Okay,
point.
the topic, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, discussion point tonight. We got number one on the menu is Liberia EU. Get your ambassador out. Number two, Buchanan's big moment, or another broken promise. Then number three, we got 70,000 fake plates on Liberian roads, and officials knew. Then we got another one, number four, we got airport dread to court over 19 million. My glasses, 19 million cocaine bust. Then we got number five, we got market women rise up. We are tax
ignored.
What's it? Ignore. Yeah, my glasses, Jomar. So we are tax ignore and left in fifth. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. That was the going through the what we have tonight for you on the menu. We want you to share the show, and this is about Liberia, and also subscribe. Anytime we come on every Tuesdays and Friday, we always you'll be alerted. Don't forget, we also on the Saturday and Sunday we got special shows. We got the law audience with the law to play on Sundays, and on Saturdays is your story with Francis Monomensa. Tonight, like my colleague just went through, tonight we'll be looking at EU ambassador in Liberia was kicked out of Liberia for making uncomfortable statement about the president or the country. Gentlemen, the question here is, the first topic, the question is Liberia really growing a span, or is this a diplomatic theater to distract from struggling Bwaka administration that, cannot handle criticism? Is he allergic to criticism? Because we've seen it like recently, Ambassador Large Sheikh Kouyaté was relieved of his post because he made a statement about some corruption within the house. And, you can name the rest, what's his name? Yaka Koluba and many others. I mean, some other people have been kicked out. Yaka Koluba kicked out because he made a statement about the government and not paying attention. So I'll go back to Mark. Mark, tell me, this is a situation where hundreds of millions of EU aids we seeking from Liberia, seeking every day. Are we really biting the hands that feed us, or is it because we are comfortable with the uncomfortable statement one person, just somebody made?
You said it right from through the presentation. Actually, Liberia is turning into something that we have to be very mindful of. When you criticize the government, they come after you. It started with not even Yeke Koluba. It started with Fonati Kofa. From Fonati Kofa, then it came to those even people that were working in the government from the WIA administration. There were some CDCNs and other political parties that went after those employees and took them out of the job or trying to belittle them by taking furniture. Because I have gotten call from few friends that were belittled because they were not from the Unity Party. So I'm not going to call their names. But the thing here is that every ambassador in a country is not there for you, okay, for the host country. They are there for their interest. And in this international relation, they are also they represent the interest of their country and to work with you as partner. But that doesn't mean to say they are the rights when they are being violated. You understand? Because at the end of the day, they are going to be called in if there is any, how they call it, a problem in the country. Most especially, EU is not just one country; it's a group of countries put together, and you got all the countries. You got some of them that gave money to Liberia, 10 million here, 15 million here, 20 million here, and the ambassador speaks on behalf of all of them. So, and you have a country that cannot sustain itself because of how they call it a government that doesn't know what to do. You have the mineral resource, but you keep begging for people to feed you. So I think we are biting the hand that feed us in a way that we're not supposed to. You can't just call for. I mean, what did the ambassador say so much for which you calling for the how they call it recall? You understand? So there are ways that you could have engaged the ambassador and if possible, the High Commission or the Commissioner for Europe, and talk to them. This is what your ambassador doing, interfering in our domestic politics, instead of just calling for the ambassador withdrawal from Liberia. And I think, don't forget, this ambassador also has connection, okay, with other EU member states that could bring foothold to whatsoever money you're getting from EU. Because if you put the amount of money that you get from European country, from Sweden, for example, from even though Norway is not part of the Schengen group, but Norway also is part of other sector of the European community. Then you got country like Britain, you got Germany, you got France. These are the big power in the EU. So I think the government was a little bit harsh. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Paul, you follow this story very well. The EU ambassador, I mean EU, that's 28 countries. Can I say 27 or more? Yeah, 27 Schengen countries now, representing in Liberia, and she was kicked out of the country. What is your story on this, and what do you know, and what is affect our relationship with EU as well? Paul, you're silent. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Before I dive into that, I think we'll have some technical problem on one of our main page, so that's why we're struggling tonight. So yeah, but Jamal, on a serious note, the question you pulled, what do I know about it? I heard this is the situation that the EU ambassador had a private conversation with some of the government official, and pointing out to them that the president did have, during his sonnet, he didn't mention anything about money that was taken from the EU. So I think that will trigger the whole thing. Because if somebody gave you $90 million free, it's a grant, you're not paying anything, and then you cannot tell the public that money received and how that money was spent. So we know that these people, they receive donor money and they use it. The citizens that are supposed to benefit, they don't benefit from it. So I think it's like me giving you money for a project and then you can't tell us what project that you did with the money. It's just, you just ask questions. That's what triggered the whole thing. They got upset. So the fact is, you remember, I want to take you guys back. The former U.S. ambassador, Juan Carter, he said something during George Weah time. He said, if Joseph Jiggy Robert were living today, what would he think of Liberia, the way the place is corrupt? He said it because they gave money, the American gave money, and he was saying the place is corrupt. So because someone expressing their view, their country sent their taxpayer money, and they're not seeing it, they get upset and say, no, we don't want this woman. I don't know what have getting into them, but now they withdraw the woman, and guess what? She was appointed to be the ambassador of AU. She'll still talk. And the private conversation she has, she also have conversation with investors from Europe. They wanted to know about Liberia. So she gave her opinion on how the country is run. And that's what upset the government. That's the rule of law, they break it. Everything is just violent. You remove people from tenure position, and then you want investor to come in, and this woman going and saying, look, this is Liberia. Giving her honest opinion, they got upset. My brother.
Yeah. You know, I wanted to discuss what we're doing the topic. You know, it tells me about how fragile the covenants of the government is. What kind of statement one will make that would trigger a recall? And you're receiving millions, hundreds of millions or aids from these people. You're not giving some money back. You just give it as a grant, like you said. They don't have, so the flip side of it, so what if they are saying something we don't know up to present what the ambassador said? I think, Paul, you said it was in private conversation. The ambassador had a conversation with some government officials. I mean, express
Go on. Yeah, but Brother Jamal, one thing that people expect, Liberian or this government is forgetting is that this woman, she's there also to know how the European community in general, their money has been spent. The taxpayer, we in Europe that pay our taxes, okay, to know how the money that they gave into Liberia, to know how it is spent. So it is also part of her responsibility, okay, to speak on that if the money is not being spent in a rightful manner for which it's supposed to be. And then call one or two people into private chat, say, hey guys, this money we're giving you is not being used on things, for example, like schools, like hospitals, you understand, like safe drinking water, like medication, if that's the purpose for which, because every time they give you money, they don't yet take the money and say, you have money here. That money is documented, well documented as to why they are giving you that money and how it should be spent and on what it should be spent on. So if you're not spending it on the things that they expect you to be, they have the right to question, okay? And in questioning that, you have to be very responsible how you reply. You can't, now this woman, don't forget, she got contacts, she got connection. So she can press some button here and there, and the money you get in, the money start coming in. What happened? Your people going to turn on you because hard time going to come in the country. The money you used to get before to misappropriate or misspend or misuse, that money is no longer coming. Even though you used to use it in other area or in a corrupt way, and the money start coming, what happened? Your people gonna turn on you.
This reminds me of the Madam Ellen government, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, when John Molu, the Auditor General, was appointed by the I think the World Bank, whatever, IMF or whatever, to manage our account. And he came out with a report that the Ellen government one of the corrupt governments Liberia ever had. And his tenure position was not, you should be reappointed to serve second term. He did not continue this because he said something that was not comfortable with the government at the time. But however, this is different because that was just a person being appointed to manage an account. But this person is a representative of a country of 27 or 28 more countries that send you money, and she speaks for them. And you telling them, I'm not comfortable with what she said. But up to president, the government is not telling what she said. And they just let her to go. Like you got, gentlemen, we said, we may be suffering, we maybe have some issues of having some support coming from that. And once we depend on EU, because we go out there crying, we are not, more especially, we seem not to be independent. We go out more especially crying to the outside world. Now, asking for help, aid, grant, and so forth. Now we're pushing for them to support. And we have the resources, all the natural resources we have, can make use of them. I don't think Liberia is richer than Holland, but Holland is manageable. Their budget is billions, and we are in the 100 million. We're just trying to put in a million, a billion. And we've got more natural resources than the Netherlands, but we can't manage it well. Then we are going to them asking them for help. What do you expect them to tell you? And they tell you that, like you said, Mark, what you're doing, you're not doing well. But the funds we are giving you, you're not prepared. You're not managing it well. So will that trigger a issue that we call? The government still need to have
it's like you went to a friend, you having difficulties with one or two things. You went to a friend, and you say, "Oh, my car is having problem," and your friend gave you this money for your car, but you use the money on gambling instead. And your friend look at your friends about your friend see you on the how they call it the public transport or riding what you call the motorbike. That do commercial in Liberia and say, but Mark, I saw you the other day or on 3 different occasions on a bike. How they call it? What happened to the money I gave you for your car? You understand? And the friend get to discover that another talking to another friend say, oh, don't mind that man used the money on gambling, so that's why his car broke down. You question yourself, but Mark, how can you be irresponsible, man? I gave you money for your car, and you used the money on gambling. So it's something similar like that. And the person did not go public. You understand? So the person did not insult the president. The person did not insult the government. The person did not insult the how to call it, the presidency. So you just out of anger, you say, oh, the person should leave. So what did the person say?
Yeah, right. Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll move on to the topic. Buchanan Port City bill, game changer or another presidential desk paper wait. Gentlemen, we'll go on. The question is, how many historic bills have been passed into this country, into Liberia, and die quietly after presidential signature and the zero follow through? Nobody look at it. The real question is, who actually benefited from the Buchanan becoming a port city? Grand Bassa citizens, or the Monrovia elite, or the government elite who will swoop in to grab the contracts? Now, it is a controversial bill, gentlemen. And it has to guarantee revenue starting for local communities, not development. But let me stop there so far. Paul, take me through. When they say port city, I think the president pro tempt, who is from Grand Bassa, is pushing for Grand Bassa, which we have a port, Buchanan, which is the state of Grand Bassa, to become a port city. There's a bill before the president right now to sign. Take me through, then Mark can add up to it. What is a port city? What is the benefit? What's the difference when it's a port city? Paul?
That's a good question, and I wish a port city. I don't know why they use the word port city instead of saying being the. I was in Rotterdam, so Rotterdam have how they call it, a port that a lot of commercial activity pass through.
Mm-hmm.
So will Rotterdam be considered a port city because of the commercial aspect of it? A lot of ships comes in, a lot of goods leave out. So maybe that could be the word, the terminology used as port city. That goods will come in from other parts of the world and people will clear their goods from that city. So maybe that's why the terminology came in as port city. But the question you ask, who benefit? Anything regarding, the beauty of Liberia, we always come up with unique things that will benefit our people. But in the end, it only benefit the few people that are the highest seat, and it does not trickle down to the common people. So it's a brilliant idea that, yes, we have 4 ports city in Liberia: Monserrate, Buchanan, Sano, and Maryland. So those ports, they are not active compared to the one in Monserrate. Now, if the Pro-10 is pushing for this, we know that the letter that is the builder sitting on the president's desk is about them making all of those ports at autonomous, so they can have their own government running the affair, their own CEO and all that, instead of being under one group. But now the question is, let's take Monserrate, for example, that generate huge amount of revenue for the government. But then you get a group of people that came from nowhere called the APN terminal that are taking huge money off Liberians, and the citizen does not benefit. Only few people. So if this Pro-10 is pushing this, I think she pushing it for her own legacy, that before she leave office. So, but the question you are, who benefit? I think the benefit will be for those at the highest level, no one else.
Mark Judafa, you follow most of those development. I mean, I know you are a guy very well informed man. And when it comes to citizen development, I mean, benefiting from the development. Somebody will argue that Monrovia is overwhelmed. I mean, the pre-port of Monrovia is overwhelmed with a lot of goods coming. So Harper is far, Sano is far. The closest will be Buchanan Port. So it'll be a good idea to declare a port city and be autonomous. And the citizen will be more job creation. And you can offload. Ships can anchor in Buchanan, and you can offload. And that will be a relief burden on the shoulder of Monrovia, Port of Monrovia, which is a major port. Is it not a developmental way we can applaud? You start looking at as well, government's another cheap way, government telling us to bring in development. Why should we applaud this if this is going to be the way out?
In another way, when it comes to the infrastructure, right, being built, it is a good thing, the infrastructure being built. But then let us look at the Englishman. I'm not an Englishman, I'm a Liberian. So let us take to the other side, for example. Now, who benefits is the more important thing, right? So, and the devil is always in the detail, right? And Liberia has not been told yet as to how the whole thing going to look like, because if you look at the free port of Monrovia, even to send your car, like you buy from Europe, you have $5,000 or $10,000 car, you buy from Europe to send it to the free port of Monrovia, then you pay 2 times the amount that you pay for the car. So it's very expensive sending your things to the free port of Monrovia, for which people are using our neighboring countries, for example, like Sierra Leone, like how they call it, like Guinea, you understand? And those that live in the southeast, they are using, if possible, the port of how they call it, the port
San Pedro. San Pedro.
You understand?
I think Grand Gita, right? They use San Pedro, I think, a lot.
The Grand Gita and the people in Maryland. So having a port of Buchanan I think when it comes to the Nimpo City, because Buchanan, I mean, Grand Bassa County is border with, I want to believe, several counties. So that's a good thing. And from Grand Bassa County, you get Ruasa and Sano. It's just like an hour traveling. And then from Sano, you get to Riwaji, you get to Grand Cru, you get, so I think the Nimpo City, the way it comes from. But who benefit? Is it much cheaper to send things to the port in Buchanan? And if it's cheaper to send things to the port in Buchanan, then a lot of people are going to stop sending things to the port of the free port of Monrovia. But then the thing here is, how many years, okay, how many years contract is set? How many years contract is set? And then how easy it's going to be for people, how accessible it's going to be, and how easy it's going to be for people to get their things out of the port, because is it going to be much easier than the free port of Monrovia? You understand? And then what the people of Buchanan going to benefit from the revenue collector? Is it going to be central government that take 97 cents on the dollar, and the people of Buchanan get only 3 cents for which they can build roads, they can build schools, they can build hospital? Because if you having this multi-million-dollar port that are almost in the tens of millions of dollars put, then that may be Buchanan supposed to be getting at least no less than 27 cents on the dollar to carry on other social programs in the county, to build schools, hospital, that the local, for example, I think the power being stripped from the city mayor now to the superintendent, which is a wrong thing that has been implemented in Liberia. I think the power supposed to go back to the city mayor, and the city mayor should be elected by the people. And then our people are in a habit of selling the country out, in the sense that they bring the investor, which is not a bad thing, but how many years contract they gave these investors, and who is there to settle the book, for example, as to how much these people make a year for which they contract, because you can't just estimate now to say, okay, this is what our prediction now, this is what it's going to be like every year when it comes to revenue collection, because you don't know how much it's going to cost, for example, clearing a car, clearing a container, the process is going to be, how long it's going to take, right? So you can only, for example, assume. So, and how many years, and who's going to be there to check and balance, to say, okay, these people, their contract, instead of having this amount of years, we're giving them going to be reduced a certain time because of what they have collected. But the county in general, I think, want to believe they should benefit, but are they really going to benefit? Until the details be made public, then we're going to know who actually benefit and how long this contract going to be for by the investment.
Oh, so that's like the question is, we don't know the revenue, out of the bill, guarantee revenue out of this bill that the communities will benefit. That's a question there. And just another one of our viewers just dropped. That's Tuan Gray. I have bad feeling. I just want to read what she put through. I have a bad feeling about this port deal after the drug bust. So there's a many ways she thinks, I think, if I can get it right, that many of these ports will be used as entry of these drugs coming to our country. Because if you can get these things, we'll come to that topic. We'll talk about the drugs, the biggest story tonight on our show is the $19 million drug bust in Liberia. But anyway, gentlemen, thank you. Paul, you want to come on there before I take you to the third topic tonight?
No, I think we should go. Mark said it all. The thing is, I already spoke on it, so we can move.
Like her feelings, right? Let's just take a minute on her feelings, and I want to also agree with her, because our security apparatus, they are not functioning as they're supposed to be. So people are going to have bad feelings, and when it comes to these ports that are being developed, the infrastructure. Like the only positive thing is that the infrastructure, because it seems to be modern. So the infrastructure aspect is the only good thing about it. But when it comes to are they going to be having what we call what's the term again? I forget. The scan that they continue go through, right? Are they going to have modern ones, for example, to see what is in the container? You understand? The X-ray machine or whatsoever you call them. Yeah, why are you laughing, Paul?
He gone too advanced. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, because every container that is being shipped out of a free port, out of a port, the people don't take the can of milk, the can how they call it, a butter, this other one, that one to scan, then one. No, they got X-ray machine that these things go through, or some kind of a scanner that scan the whole container. If drugs is in that container, they're gonna know. If weapon is in that container, they're gonna know. If ammunition in that container, they're gonna know the different component or how they call it, things that are in that container. Gonna know. So her feelings, I agree with her feelings, because how these drugs come in the country is not just through the seaport. Not just through the airport.
Yeah, we would discuss that in detail. There's a last topic tonight about the drugs. A $19.2 million drug burst in Liberia. Tuan Gray is contributing on that. We'll pick on your comments as you come to that topic. But let's go to the topic that making headline. Paul has a Q video on the there's a license plate in Liberia. I want to tell you something what's happening. They say $70, 70,000 US dollar, dodgy license plate. Liberian traffic management blame United Arab Emirates, but who is really accountable? Go on, Paul, play it.
Okay.
Oh man, you see, that is what we got. They took, we're on this platform, we spoke about what they call local content policy, where Liberians will have reserved business for Liberians. And this Lebanese man, he's a medical professor from Lebanon, who invested 50 million US dollars to get a contract to manage our traffic, to give us, who tells you who gets license plates, who get whatever, who ply the street, who controls our car, our traffic man, who does our traffic management on the road, on Liberia. He took the business, gave it to a Lebanese man. Now, he invested, according to the story, 50 million US dollars into this project. He was given a job. Now, the Ministry of Commerce or Ministry of Transport should be working together with Ministry of Finance. There should be a brilliant license plate for Liberia. But then, the video we just played, it was during some period of time, he brought in a plywood license with a paper on it and say it was a temporary license plate for Liberians. So you pay for it, you keep that temporary, use that for the meantime, then your license plate will come in. Now, this has been going on for the past month. After some time, if it rains, and now it's rainy season in Liberia, all those plates got damaged. Then the question is, he's been summoned to the House of Legislation asking what happened. The question is, if this happened, what do we do, Liberia, in the situation where you give somebody the trust to give you something and they're not delivering? What will you do? And what? I just want to stop here. I will go back to Paul to tell me $70,000 worth of fake plate on Liberian roads. So what do you think will be the end of this after being summoned by the head of this company being summoned by the House of Legislature? What we expect out of this?
Nothing. It would just be a sweet talk, and because he has spent $50 million according to them, and when someone spends that kind of money in Liberia, there is brown envelope that is being exchanged in the background. So for you to take your whole country database and give it to a foreign national, spending $50 million for that contract, that alone tell us something about us Liberian. So nothing going to come out of it. They house half away or calling people and they never follow up. I can give examples. Look at B Mountain. The people are taking tons of millions of gold out of Liberia. They'll say, oh, with some of these people. What follow next? Nothing. So it's Liberia's story, my brother. Nothing going to happen. This guy have gotten his contract. He's going to rake huge millions of dollars out of Liberia for the money he spent. And the service that he will provide, it will not benefit the country. So I don't see anything good coming out of this. I'm being honest here.
Mr. Judafar, those places on the road right now, flying on our vehicles in Monrovia, in Liberia in general, meaning law enforcement, insurance claims, and accident road could be all compromised. This is not administrative failure. This is public safety scandal, isn't it?
Exactly. And the thing is substandard, 70,000 substandard license split on the road, and you took it from a month. Like we have the 6 months rainy period in rainy season in Liberia. So your car is outside and it's raining heavily for a day or two, or if possible a week. It only how to call it, get a little bit, stop a little bit, a couple of hours just for people to run by, and get some grocery and stuff. But then it started raining again. So those licenses not going to last, from what I saw, not going to last even up to 2-3 months. So this is a scam. And the first thing, there are some things that Liberia or a country not supposed to allow for foreign investment to come in, because you taking a lot of your citizen information. The idea of Lebanese man coming to Liberia is not, to invest, is not a bad thing. But the kind of area that investing in, sensitive area that he want to invest in, he gonna have the names of thousands of Liberians. Okay, so how many cars in Liberia? We don't know. There's no system in the country to tell you that, oh yeah, we got out of the 5 million citizens, we got maybe 700,000 cars in the country. If we got 700,000 cars in the country and this man going to supply license, so let's do the math. 700,000 cars times, let me just do something real quick, times 700,000 cars times $25, you are talking about 17.5 million a year. And how many years contract they gave this man? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? 20 years. Okay, now you times 17.5 million. How to call it? Times 25. Okay. Now, times 20 years.
That's a multi-billionaire already. Come on.
$350 million.
And this guy bought the thing for $50 million. And look how much he's going to carry.
$350 million.
Let me add to
the same way. I come in, Brother Jamal. Please, before I lost my thought.
No, go on. I was just want to add to your question. Go on, please. Go on.
Yeah. Go ahead. Add to it.
No. I will ask you. I want you and Paul to speak. Finish your statement, please. Go on.
Okay. And that's the same math that I came up with. I did the math on Beer Mountain. If Beer Mountain is making $1.2 million, I will come back to this, right? If Beer Mountain is making $1.2 million, and you gave them, how they call it, another 20 years contract, times 20 years is $35.7 billion these guys are going to be walking away with in 20 years' time. And how much do you get? Okay, you get 3 cents on a dollar. That means you get $30 million. every 2. If my math that I did the other day were correct, you get $30 million a year, and the man make this money, and in 20 years time, you're gonna get maybe 3 point something million dollars, while the man walk away with $35.2 billion. That's why the man walk away with in 20 years. So the same with the Lebanese guy, if the man is spending $50 million, how was that $50 million spent? Through bribery for him to get the contract.
That's the question I want to ask you now. You just stop there for me.
Through bribery.
The question,
okay.
I just let me hold you there so you can continue. The question I want to come to the point. Who vet this contract? Who got paid?
Exactly.
Why this contract? Who is listen? Liberia is struggling with infrastructure. Why would we outsource something as critical as vehicle identification to a supplier with zero accountability? Now, the question, the thing is this: the real issue is if a company fail, handed substandard work and blame their supplier, what will you do with the contract? And they admit that they failed and still have the contract. Why should this happen? They have admitted they failed. I'm continue. That's the question I want to ask you. They have admitted they failed.
I've said this thing. Okay, Trump is an idiot, and but there are some things I like about Trump. Even though a fool, sometimes you can say this person is a fool, but sometimes the fool make you laugh. You understand? So Donald Trump exposed or open the rest of the world eyes. You understand? When a contract doesn't benefit the American people, Donald Trump tell you we come to renegotiate the contract, or the contract we're going to cancel this contract.
That's
you can carry me to no damn court that will tell you say they had jurisdiction over me and my people. You understand? So you have this man who they think he's supposed to supply you. He's not supplying you it, but then he gave you substandard, okay? And then you do the math now, okay? How much this man going to be walking away with in the next 20 years? This man going to be walking away with, if possible, $500 million. This man going to be walking away with, and then to the data collector, he going to sell that also. You understand? It's another money he's going to make. Okay, with the name, the date of birth from Liberia, he's gonna sell that as well. So Liberia, and then two, if you have a responsible government, the next government that come in, all those that work at where they do the vetting, I don't know, the Liberian Revenue, what is the place that they do the vetting? It's LRA, right?
No, I think they have their own vetting committee that any contract has to be vetted by them. I know.
It's supposed to be the PPCC.
Okay, exactly. The public prosecution, I think something they call them.
Whatever you call them.
Exactly. These people that are that particular government institution, they need to be investigated. Okay, when I mean investigated, serious, how you call technicians, investigated and audit their books as to how. And you look at the living condition of these people. These people, I talk to people in Liberia, these guys are living in luxury. They are living in mansions. You see the cars they drive, okay? And they gave all the cheap concession to these people. And the Liberia government said they're not bother, okay? This man might have spent $50 million to government officials. But then how much these guys that work at that PC or
PPCC,
whatever. You better call it just go ahead.
You understand?
Because they're just
look, guys. Guys.
Let him finish, Paul. Let him finish.
Yeah, I just want Mark to expand on it. I want Mark to expand on it. You see the police director, the justice minister, the PPCC people you're talking about, all of that 50 million, they have getting their cut. They don't care for the country. They're going to sit down and build some kind of mansion somewhere, and the thing is good. Then in 20 years, they Lebanese man, the doctor that came to Liberia, he billionaire. But they got finished building a one ugly house now. He's no longer in government. He become a beggar. He have the horse that he cannot maintain. You see how wicked we are to Liberians? Mark,
Yeah.
I just want you.
Exactly what Brother Paul said, right? You know, Liberia, we have come to this stage or this stage where we how to call it, we don't learn from our mistakes and grow from our how to call it, misfortune, but instead we are so used to electing officials that are based on emotion. You understand? And the police director you talk about and the justice minister you talk about, these guys could be the lobby for this Lebanese man.
But
These guys, when they come in the country, they'll know which button to push or to touch that their things will go through. The government is hungry. The government got people in there that are hungry also. Go to the president, get the president, maybe, I'm just saying, allegedly, give $1 or $2, $10 million here, $10 million. It's a big need to a Liberian man to sell out.
Let me stop you there. The 4-year project, the 10 million that nobody know where the money came from. It could be.
Exactly.
That's Africa.
But if you go, you know, I don't want to just because we're going to talk about that later on. But the thing here is, your president, first of all, is a diabolic liar. He contradicts himself while talking, and I owe age sometimes. Okay, the project going to be sponsored by ECOWA from ECOWA, but let us just put that topic aside. We're going to come to that.
No, I just when you
All right, guys.
The lobbyists, we don't know. So that
money
could come
So with this substandard lesson plate, right? I think the House or the Senate supposed to be calling in whosoever that is sitting on the Senate Standing Committee when it comes to transportation, supposed to be calling in the government, the transport minister, and see how best this guy, I mean, he didn't live up to standard and cancel this contract and give it to a Liberian. Instead, this is something that a Liberian could do. Yeah.
But
and do it much better.
Mark, before you go further, before they pass the contract over to the Liberian, they call it Transport Management, LTM, or you call them Liberian Traffic Management. The Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Transport, and the other responsible entities were crying that they were fighting over months that they should not take the contract from them. The government did not listen.
Exactly.
They did not listen. And now, tell me, how will you take the contract from them? We've taken $50 million. You know who got some of the money? They can't pay it back, because if you say you want to revoke your contract, your contract, and want it back like what the Ghanaian did to South African, and the money, the gold mining stuff that happening now, when these Ghanaians were bullied, beaten, and driven out of South Africa, they drove them out. We know the story. What happened with the Ghana government?
But Jamal, this is a breach of contract. Okay, I pay you to sew me a long trouser, and then you sew me a short trouser. That's a breach of contract right there.
Granted. Okay? My question for you now, Mr. Farr, is while we were saying contract, Paul was there as witness. You brought in money, or I brought in money. I gave you guys 50 million, and Paul got about $500,000 or over a little bit $500,000 out of that deal, or $250,000 out of that deal, right? Paul was there as witness. Other people were there as witness. When you want to say a breach of contract, the money that I share, I'll voice out. I'll tell you that, okay, you give my money back, then you can take your contract. Who is willing to give that money back?
But that is it was not legal. It was not legal, and in another sense, you're trying to lobby people. Lobbying is not a bad thing. You're lobbying to get a contract.
I'm not lobbying. I gave you brown envelope. I gave you brown envelope to give me the contract. I didn't lobby. I gave you brown envelope to give me the contract.
The brown envelope, Jamal, is considered as lobbying for the man to go and talk to. For the man to go and talk to. He did not sign a contract. He's not the one signing the contract for you.
Let me come to your point. This good point, Mr. Let me give you another example here. That's a very good point. Corruption dressed in the word lobby. That's what you're telling me right now.
Exactly.
When the senator of former senator of Sherman, Mr. Sherman was
Vanny Sherman.
Vanny Sherman, with these American deals coming with it, they wanted some contract, mining contract. When they and other the former Bottom County senator, when they took money from the American company, those guys were lobbying. Why the American government labeled them as the corrupt people? They said they were corrupt. They took money.
Exactly.
Why did you call that lobbying?
And there were people like Vanny Sherman with all respect to how they call it, senator. I think he was senator, right, at that time.
From Bottom County. Oh yeah, Vanny Sherman was a senator. Yeah, he was
exactly. These are arguments I expected him to raise. In Liberia, our lobbying system is not. There's no law that, for example, say that they should register. You understand, a lobbying firm. But in America, lobbying is legal, but you have to register. You understand? And for someone to go and talk for you, you have to give them something. But once it's registered, then it's not corruption. So I expected Vanny Sherman to come up to say that, but you have the same thing in America. It's legal there, but here in Liberia, except the Liberia government, if I go to deposit money at a bank and the bank have to ask question, how did you get the money? And I show the money, oh yeah, I was lobbied to talk to the president in order for this contract to go to this person. But that contract, having said that, the contract went to the Liberian lawmaker, and the lawmakers, how they call it, said they went over the details, how they call it, in the contract before sending it back to the executive branch, and the executive branch signed the contract. So maybe if Senator Sherman were in the legislature, he lobbied his friends then, but then are these guys so naive because you were lobbied and then you sell your country out? Okay, because $1 million, $2 million is a big name is big amount of money to a Liberian man, but not looking at the repercussion and the consequence that the ordinary Liberian man going to face. They don't give a rat about it.
All right. Right. Thank you very much. We'll take a quick break, Paul. I come back with, let me tell you what we'll be talking about. We'll be telling you about Liberia is a quite interesting place. Market women protest. The people who fed nation are being bled dry. The question is, they are the backbone of Liberia's former economy, are being charged fees and forced to deal with waste that the government won't manage. They're being taxed twice. You know, it's in money and in dignity. So we'll come back and discuss it, gentlemen. So Paul will take a quick break and come back. We'll talk about the market women protest while they're being charged.
In a world drowning in noise, where sound bites replace substance, there's a voice cutting through the chaos. Audience with the Lord Chola Play conversation, where Liberians and global citizens tackle the questions we're afraid to ask. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. UK and Liberian time, and 9 p.m. Central European time, Audience with Lord Chola Play. On the Bottom Line Liberia explores the issues that keep you up at night. Democracy's future in the age of misinformation. Economic systems that serve people, not just profits. Technology reshaping our lives. Reconciliation, development, and the crisis of meaning in modern Liberia. No easy answers, no tribalism, just intellectual courage, genuine curiosity, and the willingness to wrestle with complexity together. This is for Liberians who refuse to shrink their thinking, who believe nuance is wisdom, who are ready to remember how to think, not just what to think. Audience with the Lord Chola Play Show. Sunday, 8 p.m. Liberian time. Subscribe now. Join the conversation on the Bottom Line Liberia, because the questions that matter most are the ones we're brave enough to ask.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Just to remind you, you are watching the Bottom Line Liberia live from Milan, Europe. My name is Jamal Kamara, joined tonight to discuss what's happening around Liberia. Our main news over the week is my good friend Paul, the Lord Chodoplay, based in London, United Kingdom, and the good man from the Kingdom of Sweden, Mark Judah Farr. Gentlemen, welcome once again. We want to take on to the, can we say that the fourth topic, market women protest. They've been charged, they're tabled twice. They said they're sitting now in the middle of dirt in Liberia, filthy place. Sanitation is a problem. We've been charged money all around us, also garbage. Why charge us? There's a picture here. They were demonstrating in Monrovia recently. This came from another newspaper. Let me share you with this. This is what they were doing. They were out in the street there demonstrating why they've been charged. They were not happy about it. MCC, PCC, that's Monrovia City Corporation, Prince City Community, whatever they are responsible for running the market. They've been taken away from the street saying and all being charged. But they're saying why have we been charged when our environment is not clean? So gentlemen, let's look at it. We've been discussing this here over and over about this garbage in Monrovia. Its sanitation is very poor, which is one of the activities at one of the program on the arrested John. I think the last bit is sanitation, which is not been looked into for the past almost 3 years now. Government is doing very, very poorly on sanitation in Liberia. But then the market woman is bringing this to light again. Two things: you've been charged for table, and they're also complaining that why charge us? You're not even keeping the environment tidy. So, Paul, what do you think?
But the thing is, I think I think these people right to protest because the corporation take money from them every day, and you can't take money from people and you don't provide the services that they're paying the money for.
Mm-hmm.
So they are right to protest. But then if you go to Liberia now, real market, the people actually sit in there and sell people. It's not the hygiene part of it is not people buy from there and then take it home, prepare it to eat. So it's just wrong. So how can you pay for something and the government is paying the money to, they're not providing the services that are required? And you telling me on your manifesto, one of your key pillar is sanitation, and you cannot do the basic thing. Money people pay to you to clean, or you can't do it. I mean, it's just wrong. I don't know, but these are the people that it's just hard to explain when it comes to Liberia. These are people that were learned according to them. Because I remember President Boyka Teddy or former President George, we are on T. Mark show that the presidency is not for a boy, that man's job. So you give the job to a man and the man cannot deliver. It's just sad. I don't know how to express this, but it's just wrong. So where's the sanitation? How can you pay for something and the people sit in there and sell there, and then people take it home and eat? And then when outbreak or some sickness, people going to die like ants, and they don't consider that. Jamal?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I take this to this a question go to my good friend Mark. Mark, waste disposal is a government responsibility. Charging market women for a service the state fails to provide is not policy. It is extortion in government uniform. But then this is a question. Every politician in Liberia claims to fight for the ordinary people, ordinary Liberian. But when market women hit the streets, suddenly nobody's home. If you won't show up for market women, stop pretending you govern for the people. So that means getting on the street, market women get on the street in Liberia. That's a very, very bad sign. More especially when you start with demonstrating or protesting against their little businesses they do, the petty business they do, and you overcharging them. But anyway, I'll leave that to Mark. Mark, what do you think? What are we leading to?
You see, I think in one of the discussion, we're talking about one of the topics I mentioned, the power being taken away from the city mayor and given to the superintendent, right? And those days when the power was in the hand of the city mayor, come to the city, we had some how they call this uh, a good sanitation, but not 100% in the country. So, like the markets, they were well taken care of because the city mayor, people have access to the city mayor, you understand? Like the Liberian Marketing Association, also, the city mayor and them used to work hand in hand, where they would go and clean the market every Saturday. They used to have the garbage truck going around where the garbage are piled up. They would sometimes spray this area, you understand?
Yeah.
Friend of mine a few days where we're talking about when the Ebola came up. I said, look, Ebola going to stay around in Liberia and all these African countries that the Ebola virus is in or at, because the Ebola virus was man-made. You understand? It's a biological weapon, but a lot of people don't know that it's not something natural. I read it in one of my books, Between Russia and America. They are the two that came up. I just forgetting the book because I got a lot of shadow books and stuff that I go through. So I was shocked that America and how they call this, and Russia, they are the creator of this something. So the only way you're gonna have this virus going away is that when you have a good infrastructure where the people they don't have contact with, for example, the sewer line, where the garbage is well taken care of. You understand? Flies, you don't have flies, for example. You know, we got flies in Sweden. We got mosquito in Sweden, but the mosquito, it doesn't go on garbage. You understand? And then come from the garbage and to come and bite you, and you get contaminated. How they call this? Because of the garbage that it takes away all the flies come from the garbage and you get on your food. So for that reason, people in Sweden, they don't suffer that malaria like in Liberia where people suffer, they get malaria because of mosquito bite and stuff, you understand? So until you have a good infrastructure, well built, Ebola will be in the country, and then to the market women, who do they put pressure on when it comes to this money being collected from them? They go to how they call it, the city mayor who was like the CDC in town, the law city mayor. I don't know now who is the law city mayor during the Baka administration. So market women with their garbage stuff, they need to put pressure on the government, or if possible, one of the best way they can go about it is that, and then they need to sell for them to make money and feed their family. If they go to protest, one of the best way, I think, if I were advising them to protest, is they stay home protest until the government can clean the garbage for which they are taxing you people on. You stay home. Nobody go to sell. If the government don't take care of the garbage, and who making this garbage, in fact, you people. And the other day, there's a documentary I saw. China is even buying garbage. So the Liberian government smart. They follow all this documentary. China is buying garbage, and China is burning the garbage to generate electricity. Jamal, you won't believe it. I think I sent this stuff to Paul the other day, or somebody that sent it to this documentary. China that used to be a very dirty city. China now you don't find. I mean, some part of China rather. Excuse the how they call this. I hope the Chinese will forgive me if they ever get to see the video. But now everywhere in China is very, very clean. No garbage, because they are burning the garbage to generate electricity. Just imagine how fast the Chinese are moving, burning garbage, and if possible, they are buying garbage from some countries. Those countries that sort out the garbage, you understand? Separate plastic from paper, separate paper, plastic from food, separate aluminum, you understand? From food, paper, and stuff. If you sort the garbage off, the Chinese could come and buy your garbage. It's something that the Liberia government could tap in.
Yeah, listen, I know Paul will talk about that. We discussed this here. Paul, Mike, a year ago, a year and 2-3 months ago, the government of Liberia put up a tender. You know what a tender is? Probably know what a tender is.
Yeah.
Asking people to apply for waste management. We got 16 companies we discussed on the program. 16 companies were vying for that job. Among them, among this company, there were companies that wanted to do similar thing you just said. They were buying to bring their own money into the country in Liberia. 16 companies. And they vetted them, they reduced them, they screened them. It came up to, I don't know how many it came up to, 2 or 3 or 4. Ghanaian company, Saudi company, Liberian company, and other Asian company were among them. But the problem was, the situation, these guys were bringing in the money. They will manage our waste and take care of make our country very hygienic. But up to present, we don't know the outcome of that project. Just lately, we also understand now that the MCC is saying they are giving that project to a Liberian own entrepreneurs based to manage our waste. How much do they have money material wise? You know how much equipment to get one truck cleaner into Liberia to clean the streets? How much to carry the waste, to dispose the waste, to sort out the waste?
Yeah, but here I would disagree with you because we have not tried it for us to.
No, let me explain what is that. Let me say what's the difference. The thing is, they give it to local entrepreneurs, not Liberian. There were people that come in. Look, you are like now. You work with a company. Let's agree that you work with a postal company in Sweden. Now you come and want to revamp the postal system in Liberia. You don't have the finance, but you have the skills, the know-how. They come to Sweden, come to Norway or UK. A company is willing to put money to you as a local, as a Liberian to set up. That's what I'm talking about. A company not going to support you.
Okay.
But now, but what they did recently, Mark, is they gave the deal to Liberian that will sweep us. You call it local entrepreneurs. That's what they do. They'll be sweeping with brooms, with brushes in around. That's what they're doing. So how much Liberia can afford?
I agree. I 100% agree with you because the expertise is not there compared to the person who have acquired this knowledge from the diaspora and on an international and on a professional level. So I 100% agree with you.
That's what happened.
If you could have a partnership, go ahead.
It was just to give an information. It was in the news that the MCC is allowing Liberians, local entrepreneurs called the Liberia-based something to manage the waste. The question is, where are they getting the money from? These are people. Where are they getting the money from? The government is not giving them the money. And they're not coming now. They're saying they call PPP, public-private partnership. Company that came from outside, the one who work with Liberia to work with Liberia, they didn't give them the contract. Now that contract up to now, they vetted up to 2 companies or on the list. I think a Ghanaian company and a Saudi company, they're all being supported by Liberia. But now the question is, none of them got a contract. Then I don't know the deal why they managed in Liberia. Probably didn't give them good money to bribe them or get an envelope of lobby, as you may term it. So what we are now, this is the reason we are still stuck into the middle of a fifth of garbage in Monrovia or in Liberia. So that's the story for the information.
That's what I wanted to say. The reason why these guys were not given a contract because they did not bribe the people that that should have been bribed. That's the reason they didn't get a contract. But the contract going to a Liberian is something that I would support if the Liberian have the financial and the technical know-how as to waste management. Then I would prefer that the contract go to Liberian instead of it going to a foreigner. And then two, when it comes to, for example, maybe the person have the technical know-how, but they don't have the money. And there where I expect the Liberian government to come in to say, okay, Jomar have this idea. He has the intellectual property to getting this thing done, but he doesn't have the finance. But Jomar, like in the UK, you people at, there's something called, Paul talking about it, is one of my program I used to watch, and I love that program. It's called The Dragon Den. The Dragon Den, these guys, they have become billionaire. Some of them, like those that started earlier, you go with your idea, you present your idea, they do the estimate, they see the future as to how many millions, or if possible, if the business can turn into a multi-billion-dollar business. They see the idea, they put the money in it, but the only thing they tell you is, okay, Jamal, you're the inventor of this idea. You have the intellectual property, but what happened is we want to take this percentage and you have this percentage. And I can tell you this on the program. This is exactly one of the things that made Israel to be one of the richest countries in the world today. Most businesses you find these guys, they put up the money. They say, okay, in fact, you came up with the intellectual property, and then two, we are going to send technicians to manage the business. In fact, you work for the institution. Wheresoever there is problem, we send technician, but at the end of the year, the profit that is made, we're going to take 70% and you get 30%. So if the Liberian government was smart enough, you got a lot of people in the diaspora, if possible local Liberians, that got brilliant ideas and stuff, but you got corruption is one of our biggest problems. And this is one of the things I love about Mr. Cummings in our private chat. Mr. Cummings, these are ideas that Mr. Cummings want to come with. Mr. Cummings, he's like, Liberia cannot be in their own country with the amount of resources we got. We have in our country, and for us to be poor. Liberia could become, with the rightful kind of management, he said, Kai, we could become like Singapore tomorrow. We could become like Malaysia tomorrow. We are small and the resources are enough. For example, there was an idea I shared with the old man. He said, look, for example, the idea you got. If I become president in the country, I set up a very small entity that Liberia will look after Liberian with brilliant ideas, even though you come up with the intellectual property, but then the technician, they will tell you, say, okay, Jamal, yeah, you want to take care of, for example, the license stuff, the data system in Liberia to have it documented. Okay, there's a brilliant idea, Jamal, but I think this idea is lacking X, Y, Z, but you are the inventor. You are the inventor. It's going to continue with you, but the thing here is we are going to put the money in, and at the end of the day, we've done the estimate, the profit at the end of the year, we are going to take 65%, 70%, and you could negotiate. Okay, for example, if let's say when it comes to making shoes for the police, when it comes to making uniform for the nurses, and a Liberian lady come up, these are some of my ideas, and a Liberian lady come up and say, oh yeah, I want to be the person who supply clothes for our nurses, the uniform. Okay, Liberian government say, okay, we got maybe 10,000 nurses across the country, and XYZ is going to cost you to provide to these sewing machines, and then to provide maybe every nurse in the country get 10 uniform. Okay, so at the end of the year, this is what you're going to be producing. This is how much the company is going to make, but we're going to take 65 or 75% of the profit, and you get this. So these things, it's not impossible, but because you don't have the smart people to work in the government, so for that reason, Liberia will sit there, somebody will come from outside and feed us with junk, and then they walk away. It's like you gave somebody milk, and the person take honey from your mouth. Yeah, milk made from flour.
Yeah, thank you. You see, the way you just said, I hope, I'm just personal question. When last were you in Liberia before we move to the next topic?
I've been out of Liberia for a very long time, but
okay. I think let me tell you what happened. You're very brilliant this point you just made. You know what they tell you, Paul being in Liberia every year, twice a year, and I mean too. Let me tell you what our people do. Let me tell you very clear. Just what you said. When you take your business to Liberia, you go to a minister of commerce, who are you going to go to? You know, it's a brilliant idea. They ask you, how much you giving me? You can bring any whether you like it or not, any money, you just said something is being done. Liberians are not stupid. They are just leadership problem and corrupt. People, I'll tell you, people are talking about the project we're talking about. It was about 200 something million for waste management. They're trying to waste into energy. They were bringing the money. They were doing everything. We heard the story here. I don't know what the story. Probably what you just said. They asked them for money. I don't know. Nobody told me that. I guess that would have been the situation. But now, everybody's experience in Liberia. If you drop, I want to carry this cup to me in Liberia. The first person who approach you is in charge. Will tell you, oh, but I know.
10%.
And you don't give me 10%, you're not going anywhere. First person will tell you, that's it. There you got blocked. So this is it. So while a brilliant idea you're talking about Liberia, not stupid, they will tell you 10%, and before you get to it, because you don't get to that person, you don't cross that person, you're not going to the other person. So you don't agree on that 10% on the start. You bring in your money, you bring in your skill. Just to support you to get the paperwork done, they said, no, it can't go through. I will not sign the document until I got 10% on this. This is how it works in Liberia.
I don't know if I mean, because of a corrupt system, we have getting to this level where Liberia is a country where there's a word I came across the other day, and it's enteric norm, okay, where is a state in disarray that is disconnected, and then nobody know who's in charge. Things are not done accordingly, because I mean, for example, you go into Liberia, even for a Liberian to obtain business license in Liberia, for a Liberian to register business in Liberia, you're supposed to have there's supposed to be some sort of public, for example, institution that's supposed to investigate this kind of a behavior, and then two, people need to go to jail, be arrested for I'm telling you.
Oh, but they do have the institution called the ombudsman. They have it.
Everything you're talking about is there.
Everything is there.
It doesn't work. Just what you're saying, everything is there.
But the reason it doesn't work is based on the mother and father. Because if the mother and father were responsible, the children will well behave. And this metaphor, for example, is the executive branch and the legislature. If the legislature and the executive branch were well behaving, then the judicial branch will, prosecute, and then the law enforcement will be funded for them to carry on their duty. But you got the executive branch is corrupt all the way to the intestine. The legislature is corrupt all the way to the brain, that you don't know what you got no cure for it.
Thank you very much. Guy, I want to say a big thank you. Want to take a last topic? We'll take 10 minutes on that. Then we'll close for tonight. That'll be the major drug burst in Liberia. $19.2 million drugs was oh God, a pickup at our international airport. That's Rabat International Airport on a way to UK. You actually have gone through the flight as in Brussels. The topic is who is behind it.
I will appeal to you, Brother Jabbar, for us to do this border stuff, because it's kind of a quiet down.
Okay, we'll take a few minutes on that. Just would not still spend too much time on the drug issue. Then we'll go on the border. We'll be talking about the border as well. Why I said we are silent about the border issue, the Guinean Liberian border issue, since it's happened almost somewhere around early April up to today. There's nothing said about it. The legislation is quiet. The citizens are quiet. The people that are affected in Lofa County are not saying much about it. So journalists are not even making a report about it. So we want to know what's going on. We'll take you there. Quick 2-minute break, Paul, and I'll draw this for us. Then we'll come back and go straight to the drug issue. Thank you once again. Thanks for joining us. This is Bottom Line Liberia. Jamal Kamara is my name. Joining us, if you just joining us, we coming to you live from mainland Europe. Joining tonight to discuss issues around Liberia, making news for the week is Paul the Lord Judah Play, Mark Judah Far. Paul is in London. Judah McFar is in Sweden. I'm Jamal Kamara coming to you live from Manchester, UK. I'll be discussing issues here tonight. We're looking at second to the last topic tonight will be the $19.2 million drug burst in Monrovia. What happened? Who is behind this? So we'll take you through, gentlemen. Paul, last year on a George Weah, we had $100 million job burst. I went to court, won out free. Nobody got arrested. Nobody went to jail. Nothing happened. Now we have similar thing. Is this the same? Is this the business as usual, Paul?
No, the point of correction, on a George Weah, there were 3 people got arrested, they went to jail, and they could let them out free.
But nobody spent time in jail there. Go on.
Yeah. So when the moment they released, the judge told them, said they were not guilty, they fled the country. So that's the beauty of Liberia.
Mm-hmm. So what's the difference then?
There's no difference.
Okay. So why do you see as an outcome? What's going to happen?
Just the value in price. You one was 150 million, and this one here is so you see it's different. It would be the price different in it. That would be the only different in it. But Liberia, it's been a while now. I think if I'm right, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, they are drugs hub in West Africa. This is an age-old problem, and we all know that. So where the drugs came from, we don't manufacture drugs. We know usually cocaine and other come from South America. But imagine in Liberia, they packaged cocaine to send to Europe. That means there is a little manufacture plant that they have in Liberia manufacturing cocaine. Think on this. It's not coming in. It's going out from Liberia.
Okay.
We're in a serious problem.
It could also be a transit. Liberia could be used as a transit as well, Paul.
That's what I'm saying. It could be. It's a hub.
The manufacturing aspect is what we should raise, because in order for you to manufacture cocaine, you have to grow the cocoa. So the cacao is not being grown in Liberia. There is no cacao plantation in Liberia, except maybe they are in the Wedja forest area, or the how they call it, the Gola forest, the dense forest that people not access to easily. So that's the only way cacao farm have not been discovered in Liberia. So I will agree with you that it's a transit point. And then 2, we only a lot of Liberians are talking about South America, but it's possible that it coming from the Middle East also, East Asia, we call it, because we don't have scan in the port to tell you to determine what is on the container. These things are not coming by air. These things are coming in container through the port or whatsoever. Yeah, the port in Liberia, the free port in Liberia. And who clear these container, because it will not get on air Brussels, or maybe some of the planes are coming to Liberia from the other country. But in order for you to bring $100 million worth of drugs in the country, it has to be transported by container.
But it could have come from Guinea, Mark. It could have come from Ivory Coast. It could have come from Sierra Leone. Our cross-border, the security is poor. So there's so many means it could enter Liberia. That's
The question is, my question, gentlemen, I want to ask you. I don't want to take too much on this. We'll go to the border issue, because it's an age-old problem in Liberia, like Paul just said. Mark, I want you to tell me quickly before I go to Paul, what do you see at the end of this investigation? They summon the drug enforcement department, the port management, all other concerned authorities being summoned by the House to find out who is behind drug arrest being made. What do you think going to happen?
I see nothing going to happen. It's just going to be like business as usual. I can give you more than 10 different, 15 different things that I have in my catalog here when it comes to, since the government came to power, when it comes to corruption, mismanagement, and nothing has happened. So this $19 million, the only thing I wanted to talk about is Liberia need to wake up when it comes to drugs, because Liberia is a very risky territory for you to raise your child, okay? And this drug something is destroying the human resource capacity or capital in Liberia. and it poses a risk for the country in general. But when it comes to holding people accountable, this thing, it go as far as I don't watch Spoon that much, but I listen to the stuff because he's a manipulator. I listen to things that he was saying and I analyze for myself, put 1 and 2 together here. And some of the indirect jobs he was throwing here and there that people in the government, and then 2, it was said to me before that people in the government, certain names, allegedly that they were involved in drugs business. Look, for example, like Brother Paul said, the $100 million drugs that went into in the country, how it got in the country during the WEA administration. 3 people walked jail free. They walked and they left the country. Nobody know where they came from. Nobody know their identity. And then the next thing before we go look, George Weah was called to America. When Weah was called to America, sanction lifted. Who knows who is behind this stuff when it comes to drugs business in Liberia? And nobody are being held accountable. They so-called DA, they'll go to arrest a Ray, they will get the drugs, but they cannot show face of anybody that they arrested except for this little kid, Bucky Raw, who they make example of. Besides Bucky Raw, you never see anybody that $19 million. So who got the $19 million? That fly or that dog?
That's the question.
Yeah, Paul. Paul, I know before I want you to speak on this. Then we'll move to the border question issue. Liberia, the British intelligence, together with American intelligence, they raised the alarm on these drugs are coming through, and that says Liberia is at risk.
And Brother Jabato, to just add on that, I think the Interpol now is time for them to, if they are serious, to prevent drugs from coming to Europe. If Liberia is actually a transit point, it is time that they get Interpol involved, because Liberia is signatory to this Interpol stuff, right? So it's time that the Interpol, they get involved to know as to who is bringing the drugs to Liberia and how the drugs is targeting European cities, and their children going to be victims. I know what they think with the white powder that certain people just love. I mean, yeah, but Interpol need to get involved actually seriously.
Yeah, that's just what I was saying now. The question is, thank you for that, adding that, because that's when the international security network is sophisticated to pick up these signals. The British intelligence, together with the U.S. intelligence, pick up the $90 million drugs issue. They pick it up and they alerted the Liberia drug enforcement team. So, Paul, Liberia is at risk, right? Being flagged as a narcotic transit state. Is that not just that's become a reputational problem? And that's also come with sanction, travel bans, economic isolation territory for us. Our leaders
arrest some government officials and pick them and carry them to continue. Put them in
Paul,
ship.
Yeah, Paul, will we look into it as a way of will they take them serious and with these sanctions coming around? Because under George Weah, we had drug issues. Since the old man came out, he said he declared war on drugs, but he got more intense. In fact, he got the most serious. I don't know why he declared war on drugs. Well, he should have not done that, because he got even more serious. There are much more drug cases than ever before. It's coming up everywhere, every day, every now. So now, what do you think will happen? Will he being considered as could be considered as a narcotic transit state? Don't you know that comes with some consequences in terms of travel bans, sanctions, and isolation?
No, what's going to happen here, even sanction won't help the situation. Now, if the government of Liberia don't take this serious, people that travel with Liberian passport, they're going to have problem traveling. You see, this is what Nigeria today, if all the bad things associated with Nigeria because of what happened in the past, Liberia could face similar thing, that we could have traveling ban on Liberians because of this nonsense that is happening, because of greed of few people that won't get rich overnight, that don't care for the citizen of Liberia. This is what's happening. You see, why is it that from early time to Joseph Boyka, the issue being in Liberia, it started during the war because they brought drugs and were giving young child soldier drugs. So it's something that been going for a long. Why can't they put stop to this thing in a way? But now because people in Liberia could now with Colombian drug cartel, because cocaine is not something that is manufactured in Africa. It comes from South America because greedy hunters in there, they have access to what the government, they in bed with these people. So that's the problem that we face. You see? So on a we had a kush. On Joseph Burka, that's something else. Because all of these drugs are passing through Liberia, where is it going? They need to scrutinize the security.
Thank you very much.
And just to add on this Tower Benson, you understand. So there was something called the Golden Triangle before, and the Golden Triangle, it was Thailand, I think, Cambodia, Burma, Laos, and I think maybe I'm not correct, but yeah, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Burma. So if you travel to those countries before coming to Europe, once the stamp in your book, you cannot come to Europe easily. Yeah, that was the Golden Triangle era. In the Golden Triangle era, these guys were producing cocaine like crazy. It was crazy. And the same thing happening to Liberia now. You got Liberia, even you go to Liberia, you get Liberian visa in your book. Some countries, they will not allow you to travel to, because this thing has gone international now. Liberia is a transit point for cocaine, for drugs. How embarrassing it is. From Georgia administration to Baka administration. And Liberian people, this is where, these are some of, these are some of the things that Liberian people need to process their thoughts as to why should they vote the next person. Yeah. Why should Liberia, in order for Liberia to move forward, we need to do away with the CDC and this Unity Party government, because they have not gotten us nowhere but brought trouble to Liberia. Most especially the Unity Party government, they have brought trouble to Liberia. From Ellen Johnson, Evil Queen, to the President Joseph Boyka. Yeah. Only trouble they are brought to Liberia.
From Evil Queen to the storyteller.
On that note, I want to take you to the last rant. We'll be discussing the border issue. People be concerned, it's a concern raised here. Liberian border, Guinea issue with the Guinean border. Since early April, the Guinea moved onto Liberian soil and moved in, occupied the player, raised the flag, hosted the flag on the Liberian soil. And the question's been around what has happened so far. The government is silent. The legislature is not talking about it. The security is not telling anybody. The press being sanctioned not to go around the area. The citizens in Lofa County are quiet. The people in Lofa County are quiet about it, more especially the Solomon area, Foya district. So we want to know what's going on. So we'll take you through. I want to speak to Mark, my colleague here tonight. What do you think is happening? Since this happened, we all quiet, nothing is happening. We expect movement to be, something to happen. We've been discussing them more than 4 or 5 times on the show. What do you think will happen at the end? This is dragging so long, no decision. What do you think is leading us to?
We just keeping our finger crossed that Liberia don't lose that territory to this military government that is in power, even though it has transitioned to a civilian government, but a leper always a leper. Once a soldier, always a soldier. So until maybe Liberia get a president that is a little bit charismatic to call Guinea to the book and to go into historical research as to the actual demarcation and what the Liberia do wrong, for which Guinea had a courage to come into Liberia, deep into Liberia, in fact. And what is the reason? And why is the Liberia government so quiet? Why is it our lawmakers are so quiet? What is it? The defense minister, who is a surveillance position, but in the army? Why is it the defense minister had not spoken? The NSA director, these people, the chief of staff, we're not hearing nothing. The foreign minister of all, the foreign minister of all is not feeding Liberian people. The president is not talking. The vice president that served between two institutions, the executive branch and the legislature, he's not talking. The press is quiet. The press are supposed to be firing up every day on this border issue. Because if we lose that territory, we become much smaller. Okay? Tomorrow it could be Sierra Leone. Tomorrow it could be Ivory Coast. We get much smaller and smaller. Liberia is not looking for fight with Guinea, because no matter what happens, we are interrelated. The tribes you find in Liberia, they got their cousins, their brother, their sister across the border. But why is it Guinea is in Liberia? Yeah, why? Okay, why?
Yeah, good question.
And the people of Lofa, they are very comfortable with it.
Good question.
Okay, had this been in Nima County, it won't be like that. As they've been in Maryland, it won't be like that. I can tell you. But the people of Lofa, why is it they're so comfortable with this? Nobody know.
I can answer that because of tribalism. Because our son is in power, so we can't talk. No matter how we suffer, we can't farm because we can't see anything. It's just tribalism.
No, talk a little bit more about that. When she compares the Ace, explain that much clearer to us. Do you mean that the Solomon area is dominated by Kisi, so the president of Kisi, so they don't want to speak against what's happening in Guinea, moving to like
exactly. The entire, I think there are 5 or 6 tribes from Lofa County. And they believe that if you one of them, you are uncle,
nephew, cousin.
Yes. So because you're from there, no matter how bad you are, they will not criticize you. That's purely tribalism.
The question comes to you, Mark, about what's the role of national legislation now, and the asking the president, because if there's some other people regarding the fake license plate. The electricity issue, some of the president, I mean, there's some of the director, there's some of everybody, the Liberian Water and Sewer director. Why they can't ask the president? There's someone here asking what's going on with the border issue.
The president have the legislature in his pocket, so they cannot summon the president. You see the country running.
But they can ask him for a briefing, to brief them on what's going on. He's not doing it.
Some lawmakers said something, they remove him because he made comment on the border issue.
Exactly.
But they not have the balls to call the president and say, it's been 4 months now. What happened to our border? So I want to believe the fact is that the president told the nation that they have in diplomacy and nobody knows what is happening. There's no movement in Monorail Union, there's no movement in ECOWAS, there's no movement in AU, there's no movement in the UN. So who are they having the diplomacy with? The president.
Do you know? Now we add to you and Mark can talk on that. Let's make it interactive. Do you know that Edwin Snow, together with they went to make the presentation at the ECOWAS meeting. The report of the border was not part of the report. They were given a report. It was not mentioned. It was not presented on the board to AU meeting. Do you know ECOWAS meeting? Sorry. Do you know that it was not part of the report?
It was not.
But why was not part of the report? Why nobody's asking the question?
No, the thing is, the executive should have briefed them. The executive have not given them any briefing.
No, it should be put in the report. No, they do not make the report.
No, yeah, exactly.
Go on.
No, because I follow what Jomai is talking about, and
that's what I'm saying. The executive gave them details. They have not been told, so they cannot go and say something.
No, it's not like that. I must say, let me make the correction, Paul. According to Edwin Snow, Senator Snow, the ECOWAS secretary in Liberia produced a report for them before they go for the summit. So every time the report would be back and forth, he was on the radio, back and forth, they would double check and see what is up. But what they did this time, they gave the report on a short notice, like they're going Monday, they gave it today on, I think, on a Sunday or Saturday. They didn't have the time to review the report. So when they went to present a report, there was nothing mentioned about the border. So they couldn't report about the border. There was nothing there.
But
That's just an
Jamal,
information.
let's give this guy the benefit of that. When Yeka Koruba spoke on the border issue, they said it was national security issue. So something that have to do with national security, they will not put it in the public. That's what they told us. So even the people that already report for Snow and others, because a national security issue that they don't want no one to know, they will not put it in there.
So, but why should we complain then? If it's a national issue, what we want to know?
So we want to know. My grand auntie is in a place that she was farming. She's not farming anymore because the Guinea have taken over. So I want to know what is happening to my country. If Edwin Snow, who's supposed to have the balls to call the president, refused to do that, I'm an ordinary citizen. I just want to know. Have the president, have the government sold the border to Guinea? We want to know. That's what we just want to know.
We want to know if that particular area is part of Liberia or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, we want to know, because Liberian, for all Liberian, we feel that Liberia has been invaded. So that's one of the feeling behind it. So if it is not, how they call it, if that area doesn't belong to us, we want to know and we move on. But here are people that came together to move a lawmaker, to remove a lawmaker because of a statement that he made. But they cannot call the defense minister. They cannot call the NSA director. They cannot call the advisor to the president on national security issue. Okay? But they could move a lawmaker. So it tells you that the first branch of government is a spineless institution,
Absolutely.
a corrupt institution. You know, like people they talk about the corruption. When you say corrupt, they say, oh, that money. Somebody's mind can be corrupt into doing evil. So the legislature is a corrupt institution that only do evil to their own people and not for the interest of Liberian people. Look at some of the concessions that go before them. They read it. The other day I heard Shabma Dylan talking about we cannot cancel that. Now we the one that sign concession. We don't sign concession. But these concessions go before you read them, Mr. Shabma Dylan talking tongue. Okay? It go before you people. They don't like to act like he's smart. This thing go before you read them. Why? You can see the error in these things, but you put pen and paper, you sign on these things. Okay? You see them. You see the error. Or are you blind to say that you can't see the error? Even Stephen Wonder, if you get the opportunity to feed on those documents, you will see the error, the typographic error in those documents. Okay? And reject them. So are you telling the Liberian people say that you're that dumb? You, Dylan, that you're that dumb, you and your colleagues? But you received the brown envelope for which you people sign onto those things. You didn't give a jack about the Liberian people. That was it. Liberian people, they only vote on their feelings, but they're not voting for what is good for us. Yeah, but they only vote on their feelings, their emotion. Somebody who make them to feel emotionally high. That's what Liberian people vote for.
Yeah.
I want to note, I want to say a big thank you to all those who've been joining us. We've been here for 2 hours exact. My colleague, Paul, the Lord Children for London, Mark Judah Farr joining us live from Sweden to discuss tonight main issues that make us to worry and concern about Liberia. Liberia is a passion. Liberia is our country. It's the only one we have. It's a border issue we discuss and other issues that made news over the week. We talk about, just to recap, we spoke about the $19.2 million drug bust in Morovia. Who is responsible, who is accountable, the $70,000 fake license plate on our vehicles in Liberia, as well as the Maki women in Liberia complaining about being taxed or being charged for fees and sitting in the middle of garbage or this dirt. And also talk about the port of city. Buchanan will want to become the port city. Who benefits, a citizen or the elites? Also, a big thank you for joining us, my colleague for joining me from Sweden, and also Paul for joining me from London, for having a pleasant and nice conversation tonight. We want you to forget to join us on Saturday. I don't know what he's out of the country for. I hope he's back. It will be the story with Francis Monomensa. Paul will be here on Sunday on the story of Audience for the Lord Children. Once a big thank you and have a pleasant weekend. My name is Jamal. I want to say pleasant good night. Take care.